I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Good morning, YouTube. We are actually going to do a leg day, early morning leg day today. So we're going to warm up and kind of go into some of my warm-up squat routine, kind of starting from the ground up. My warm-up routine is not really all that crazy. I tend to just focus on warming up the feet, warming up the ankles, warming up the knees, and then I actually just kind of warm up the hips through actually just squatting. If I'm starting with squats, I'll kind of just pyramid up, and really that's the majority of my warm-up, but I then just kind of start with things that tend to need a little bit more attention. Ankles, tibialis, try to really focus on the tibialis to free up, just because I know that that makes my knees feel a lot better. And then, of course, hamstring curls, things like that, pendulum squats, things that are just gonna get a lot of fluid circulating through the body, circulating in and out of the knees, and get those well lubricated before squatting. Trying to mainly get some blood flowing into the feet, into the tibialis, feel some stretching into the knees, and then try to just kind of mobilize the foot and ankles. This device, you can get on Amazon, but tib bar guy. And so in between these exercises, as I'm warming up the body, I'll then go and do sets of squats. So I'm kind of gauging my level of preparedness for the squats, gauging how much warm up I need to be doing. If I feel really good and squats are feeling good, then the warm up is kind of over, because the main thing is really just preparing for squatting. Feet feel really good, feel really stable, not moving, shifting, feel pretty comfortable in terms of depth and range of motion in the ankles. Knees still need a little bit more work. So we're gonna do the pendulum squat to get those knees warmed up. With the pendulum squat, we're really just trying to emphasize excessive knee flexion, trying to maximize that knee bend as much as possible. Really not worried too much about load or anything like that. Just trying to push my knees as far forward and get as much deep bend in that squat pattern as much as possible. So magically, really, squats already feel now really good. I know a little bit it's just getting a little bit more load, but blood flow is key. So I've only hit so far 2 sets of my ankle mobilizations, 2 sets of pendulum squats, and now we're just pyramiding up and kind of throwing those things back in as things maybe tighten up. So I really like to superset, not really superset as in like jump from one rep to another, but in between my rest periods with squats, engage the hamstrings. It's a great time saver. Those hamstrings don't take away from the squat. And if anything, they actually probably help the quad recover a little bit faster and keep everything stabilized. So if you're short on time or just trying to pack in a lot of volume, sneak in a lot of extra volume in a day, it could be good to throw your hamstring curls in prior to your squats to get your squats feeling really good, or in between sets too, as long as it's not so systemically fatiguing that you're taking away from the squat movement pattern. I find a lot of people worry way too much about what other people are doing on the internet as opposed to what works best for you. And so you'll notice on some days I squat more narrow. On some days like today, I squat a little further apart. My quads, the stimulus I get in my quads, the growth that I see in my quads do not change. I'll get other muscle groups involved, a little bit more adductors today, for example, but it's not detracting away from my ability to grow and activate the quads. There are so many factors that go into stance, width, comfort in the squat. If you have a really, really long torso, your legs might have to be a little bit wider. It's gonna be really hard for you to go super narrow. You see some of these Olympic weightlifters, especially out of like the lower weight classes. Think like Liu Jiajun, world-class lifter, relatively very short. I think he's like 5'5", 5'6". Also practicing front squats, cleans, snatches, all things that are gonna keep them a lot more upright. So a more narrow stance, really knee dominant squat makes a lot more. Someone like me, maybe not so much. Someone like John, a client who's world-class tennis player, one of the best in the world at what he does, he's 7 feet tall. Narrow stance squats are not gonna get him very deep, not gonna get him very far. So everything varies person to person. Do what's best for you. That's the best thing I can say. Find what works for you, do that. It is haircut day for sure. Get it faded, nice little beard trim, and then yeah, we leave for Paris, France, not Paris, Texas, on Tuesday for the French Open. So a lot of work to do from now until then. A lot of big exciting stuff coming. Yeah, out of pre-workout, out of protein, out of bum energy, raw nutrition, send help. What a difference 10 days makes. I couldn't even squat body weight. Had like a, I don't know, seemed like a mild quad strain. Rested it, worked on a new fit with it for about a week. Now we're back, and other than the cardio, these squats feel easy. Going from not being able to do body weight, purposely kind of taking it conservative on the load. Haven't really been allowing myself to go heavier than like 315, 365. But today I feel like I could PR. Quality warm-ups. Quality warm-ups mean everything. Hardest part for me really is being aggressive on programs. So if I have like set weights, desired weights, things like that, if I come in and I'm feeling really good, it's like skipping ahead a few chapters and finding out what happens at the end, maybe more than you bit off the chew. Maybe there's some plot holes in there because you didn't, you know, do the set weight that you were prescribed that week. You jumped ahead and you're confused because you're like, who the fuck is this character? And then that character ends up being the murderer at the end or something like that. Stick to the plan. Don't skip ahead. Snape did it.
He was their friend, and he betrayed them. He was their friend!
Squats take a lot out of you, which is why you should prioritize them and use them first. The amount of load you can do, the amount of stability that's required, inherently create more fatigue. So you don't really want to do your squat sets, especially like back squats, with the amount of stimulus required, the amount of stimulus they give. You kind of want to throw that at the beginning of the workout. Even things that don't seem like they would be excessively difficult or excessively, you know, draining, like a leg extension. You probably want to prioritize really lightweight volume for that, getting blood flow into the legs, but not really overloading leg extensions prior to squatting, for example, or leg pressing or things like that. If you're going to do squats, they probably should be front-loaded in your program. Now we're gonna do some heavy hip presses. 100-pound plates only. The beauty of the hip press compared to most other leg presses, because the way you're wedged down, you do get a lot more hip flexion, a lot more hip involvement. So for me personally, a lot of high quad insertion and a lot of glute, a lot of adductors without actually taking away from that VMO teardrop activation that we all just know and love. It's the 100-pound only club until you run out of 100-pound plates. In a lot of aspects, hard work has to be done, but to love this and to stay in this for a long time, the gym has to be fun. And so today, we're just pyramiding up until we can't get 10 reps. No downward pyramids, no drop sets, just a lot of hard work. Everything's kind of above what a normal working set would be for me on the hip press anyways, because I usually don't do 10 reps on this. I'm usually doing like 15 to 20 repetitions, higher volume, lighter weight, especially after a heavier squat session. But today I just want to keep it heavy and keep it fun. And yeah, it's a recess. Recess, baby. Worked up to just under 800. I think it was like 780 was the sticking point. Mainly just because we're moving today without an elevator and 3 flights of stairs. So getting up to 1,000 would have been pretty tough. Usually if I go anywhere near 800, if I go beyond that, it's adding some bands or something to create some more tension because the plate situation gets a little clunky. We're gonna do some lighter weight, just kind of accessory work for some legs, leg extensions, some walking lunges, and then I think I gotta get out of here, almost haircut time. Rag, you know, been up since like 5 a.m. So already like cleaned my house and I was like, I'm just gonna go work out because we don't have, well, actually I scheduled a haircut at 9 also. It's a me day. You know, we actually just packed a bunch of stuff yesterday. And so we got to the point where I realized how many boxes we had packed. And I was like, I'm gonna get a mover quote. So I ordered movers. You know, I'm too old for that shit. I'm too old to not pay people to move it for me. I always used to just say, I was like, you know what, moving, it's fun, it's a workout. Like, I'll help other people move, but if it's up to me, it's my stuff, I'm gonna hire someone to move it for me. I'm gonna do a couple more sets of leg extensions. We went over squat warm-ups with the ankles, knees, how to get those warmed up. Went over squat technique, foot placement, narrow stance, wide stance, quad activation, adductor activation. Some ways to sneak in some efficient extra volume into your workouts with supersets, things like that. And also just how to kind of have fun and keep the training process entertaining, but keeping it short and sweet. We're gonna do some more leg extensions. I'll hit a couple sets of walking lunges just to get some blood flow and conditioning in the legs. And then we are out of here. So I'm done talking. You can keep watching. Do the YouTube thing, like, subscribe, whatever. Call your mom, tell your lover. Bye. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm stuck.